Alibaba shares jump after it lands a major customer for its AI chips. Hello and welcome back to RubenTek, where we talk about tech, politics, and finance. Today we're touching on all three, and if you haven't already, please like and subscribe down below. Now, I'm going to tell you, you need to get used to headlines like this. In an earlier video that I launched just today, I mentioned how Beijing has come out and has banned its larger companies from purchasing the Nvidia series that was made specifically for China, i.e. H20 AI accelerators and the RTX Pro 6000D. These have been banned from Chinese tech firms because Beijing believes that and rightly so, that its own domestic suppliers have just as capable chips as these China-made alternatives from Nvidia. And so what that's going to do is it's going to literally reach into the pockets of American companies and strip out billions of dollars. This is not an exaggeration. As I've reported many times before, right here we have Nvidia Tech CEO saying that it will record a $5.5 billion charge tied to the H20 processors exported to China. This was back in April, though, when the H20s were banned for the first time. Now it's not just H20s that are banned. And understand, this ban was the Americans banning it to China. Now China has banned it. Okay, so this is in cement. And they've also banned RTX Pro 6000. So how many more billions are going to be lost to that? It was reported that there was multiple tens of thousands of units ready to be shipped. Remember that these chips are very hard for Nvidia to sell elsewhere, because in the trade war that U.S. has enacted against China and in the AI chip war, which again, the U.S. started against China, Nvidia had to work very carefully around the sanctions and the export controls. And so these chips are very specific to the Chinese marketplace. So it's not like they're going to be able to sell them anywhere else, really. Because why would you purchase it? You could just go ahead and you could purchase a Hopper series, or you could just purchase a Blackwell. So I would imagine in the next probably months, I think they just reported earnings in August. So in 2 months, they'll be taking yet another multiple billion-dollar write-down. Okay. But it's not just in technology. It's not just in technology that America is getting hit, where we're being denied entry into a $30 to $40 billion market. All of our own doing. We're the ones that started this war. It's also on soybeans. Okay, I'm sure you've been on TikTok and saw all the videos of farmers that are like, China, you need to buy our soybeans. They're sitting there in Arkansas, all throughout the Midwest with unsold product. China purchased $12 billion worth of soybeans last year from the U.S. And this year, as of this last been reported, they have $0 on the book. And this is midway through peak season. We can see down here in this article that Reuters is writing that 7.4 million metric tons of mainly South American soybeans for October shipment. Okay, and that's covering 95% of China's projected demand for the month. Okay, and it's coming from South America. It's not coming from the U.S. And already for November, they've booked 1 million tons again from South America, or about 15% of expected demand. So it looks like they're leaving the door open, but as of right now, China is sending a strong and clear message to America that there's not only one side that can engage in the trade war. There's two. That it always takes two that can tangle. But Americans, my fellow Americans, don't fear, because Basin announced something very important. A TikTok deal framework has been reached with China. And Trump and Xi will finalize it on Friday. Why am I laughing? Because we're talking about American companies losing out on billions of dollars of inventory. American companies losing out on multiple tens of billions of dollar market, projected to be a $300 billion market over the next 5 years. We're missing out on all of that. Farmers, the American farmers, the backbone of this country, getting hit, losing $12 billion in soybean orders. Yet, hey, we're finalize a deal with China on TikTok. Sorry, I really, it blows my mind. But obviously, this is super important, even though the American government is the one that took it away from us. I'm so sorry. You know what? I'm not even going to re-record this. Okay. it's just the level of lunacy here is just whack. So anyways, the American government took it away, but don't fear, the American government is going to save it for you. And none other than Donald Trump announced this great monumental event that happened in his meeting. The big trade meeting in Europe between the United States of America and China has gone very well. It will be concluding shortly. A deal was also reached on a certain company that young people in our country very much wanted to save. He loves that word, very. They will be very happy. I will be speaking to President Xi on Friday. The relationship remains a very strong one. Oh my God, that's 4 times he uses very. So he's coming out of here. Mind you, again, basically here in the last week, okay, China is at the point where it's like, hey, we don't even need the Americans anymore, right? They would never block us out of their market on AI chips if they weren't 100% confident that they could go it alone, okay? Because they know how important the AI agency and model race is. They're not dumb. They know that, okay? And they have the best people in the space, so of course they know that. So there's no way they would do what they did with the chips unless they were 100% certain that they could go it alone. So they're announcing that, which is a monumental shift. It means that America is under real threat. If it wants to make this world a zero-sum game, then we are under real threat of being the losers in this space, okay? Of being the absolute losers in this space. All our own doing. Remember, we're the ones that started this AI chip war. And American farmers are losing out on $12 million in soybean orders, which is significant. Many farmers are saying they're going to lose their loser farm, right? They're farming 400 acres, 1,000 acres of pure soybeans. They need to sell these soybeans. And yet what Donald J. Trump takes the time out to announce was that TikTok is going to be saved, even though he and his ilk, the U.S. government, are the ones that took it away from us. They're the ones that took it away from us. Okay, and even if you're a Democrat, remember, Democratic lawmakers also voted for this to take TikTok away. Why? Because it's a Chinese company. And as Mike Johnson said earlier today, China is the adversary. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's how they feel. So I'm sorry. I just find that absolutely hilarious. Back to some more seriousness here. It's not just with China that we're losing, though. It's also with South Korea. As you know, Trump's administration invaded the LG after Trump's administration said, hey, we want you to bring your factories here. We want you to invest in America. And LG and Hyundai said, yeah, sure, we're going to do that. We're already doing that. And we're going to send 450 of our workers to these factories, right, to get these factories going so that Americans can come in and work in them. And Trump said, nope, we're going to arrest these people. It's been a big rigmarole. I've talked about it on this channel. Apparently, there's been receipts from the Korean side that they had been in constant communication with the U.S. government to have these people okayed to work over there to get this factory going. And that the government kept saying, yep, no problem. Don't worry. We're going to finalize it. Basically dragging their heels. And then out of nowhere, Trump goes and he arrests 450 or 350, I forget the exact number, but a tremendous amount of these people. And apparently the conditions were so bad that South Korea is now looking into human rights violation. Mind you that these people had committed no criminal acts. They were engineers. They were very highly skilled technical workers over here doing us a favor by getting $1 billion investment into our country going, right? And they were going to train American workers and they were never given the chance to because they were led away in chains, thrown down, handcuffed, put in chains, dragged out, threw in these room where, everyone's on a super thin mattress, a concrete pillow, they're having to pee together. No, there's no door or bathroom. It's just a toilet out in the open, et cetera, right? Eating food that I heard was reported to be awful, treated like literal, just, the most common of criminals. And then Donald Trump realized a mistake, said, hey, do you guys want to stay and you can train our people? And they all said, no, we want to go back to our own country. And on the same day that Trump is asking them if they want to stay, Kristi Noem saying, hey, we need to have a good show here. We got to walk them out to the plane all locked up and shackled up and, tell the reporters they're going to be criminals. We have to have criminal charges filed against them. And I mean, this is the insanity. And so this has been a big deal. Chris Norland, who is a U.S. citizen, but he has Korean heritage. He now lives in Korea. He's been covering this a lot. And obviously the Korean people are very, very upset about this. And South Korea now is reporting that tariff talks with the US have stalled. And one particular point of interest has been around a $350 billion investment fund. Understand that LG and Hyundai have stopped development on their factories in America as of now. So it's a multi-billion-dollar project. It has been halted. And right now they're saying, hey, we're not sure about the $300 billion investment fund that you want us to set up, especially with how you're treating our people. And this is the crazy thing, but I don't know that Korea will be able to hold out on this, because as silly as this sounds, right? To be an enemy of America is one thing, but be our friend is deadly. Just ask Japan. Japan had to sign a deal with America, $550 billion of investment, and the president over there felt he had to do it. Okay, and the people did not want it to happen. Immediately after he signed it, there was an election. They voted against his party, a landslide victory. I believe he's actually stepped down now, or he has announced he's going to step down. But he felt he had to do it for the automobile industry. And I'm wondering if South Korea is going to feel the same way. Like, well, America did this huge, terrible thing to us, but we just simply cannot survive without them, because we've become so dependent on them over the year. And now they basically own us body and soul. In other news of winning for America, Canada shifts its auto imports from U.S. to Mexico amid tariffs. For the first time in over 30 years, Canada has now imported more passenger vehicles from Mexico than from U.S. We can see here that it brought in Canadian $1.08 billion of passenger vehicles from Mexico's, and that surpassed the $950 million from the U.S. Okay, so I just wanted to put this out here of all this winning that's been happening with this trade war. I don't really got much else for you to say. It just boggles my mind. The TikTok thing, right? All of this going on in the world, and out of a very important meeting, the only update we get is that the exact application that the government voted to take away from us, now they might be given back to us, right? No mention of more important things like this or inflation, right? It's absolutely mind-boggling. All of you out there, please be sure to take care of yourself, both physically and mentally. Have a great day.